Today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing real numbers. Alright, and first before we go into how to actually multiply and divide those numbers, we have some properties we're going to touch on. The first one is the identity property of multiplication. The identity property states that for every real number n, 1 times n equals n. So for example, if we have 1 times 6, the answer will be 6. Same with negative. If we have 1 times negative 2, the answer will be negative 2. Okay? Our next property is the multiplication property of 0. And that says for every real number n times 0 equals 0. So this means any number. It could be 5,000 times 0 equals 0. Okay? Alright, the third property we're going to be talking about is the multiplication property of negative 1. Negative 1. So this means that for every real number n, negative 1 times n equals negative n. So what they're saying here is if we have negative 1 times 2, the answer is going to become a negative 2. Okay? Alright, and then our last property is the inverse property of multiplication. The inverse property. So the inverse property states that for every real or for every non-zero real number a, there is a multiplicative inverse 1 over a such that a times 1 over a equals 1. It sounds more complicated than it is. So what it means is that if we have 2 and we multiply it by its multiplicative inverse, which is just 1 over 2, the answer is going to be 1. Okay? So that means that if we have 60 times 1 over 60, it equals 1. Alright? Now, these numbers could be called multiplicative inverses. They could also be called reciprocals. If you remember back to pre-algebra, when you're multiplying fractions, if you had like 3, the reciprocal of 3 would be 1/3. Okay? Same with if you had 2 over 3, the reciprocal of that would be 3 over 2. Okay? Alright. So, while we're multiplying and dividing real numbers, there are two different rules that we can follow. If you're multiplying the numbers and they have the same sign, the answer will be positive. So for example, if we have negative 2 times negative 2, the answer will be positive 4. The answer will be positive 4. Same with dividing as well. If you have negative 6 and you divide it by negative 2, the answer will be a positive 3. Okay? Now, there's a rule for different signs. The answer will always be negative. So, for example, if we have negative 5 times positive 2, the answer is going to be a negative 10. Okay? Same with division. If you have a negative 12 and you divide it by a positive 3, the answer is going to be a negative 4. All right, that's the nice thing about about multiplying and dividing real numbers is that the signs are same in both cases. Okay, the rules are the same in both cases. So just to practice a couple, real quick. So we have 24 divided by negative 4, and in this case, 24 divided by negative 4 would be a positive answer, or I'm sorry, a negative answer. Excuse me. So 24 divided by negative 4 would be a negative 6. All right. Um, Same with this one. If you have negative 5 times 1, it would be a negative 5. Okay. So my suggestion would be to go through these, look at them, try them out, see if you can figure them all out, and I'll look over them if you'd like me to in your notes.